Welcome. My name is Brittany Timberlake, and welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so you don't miss any future practices. This practice is being filmed at Amana Yoga Studio in Quispamsis, New Brunswick. So if you are ever in the area, please come join us. I'm calling this a yoga sequence for cyclists because the shapes will be targeted to opening through the hips and the upper body. But if you're not a cyclist, that's okay. I think you'll still enjoy. And myself being a cyclist, these are some of my favorite shapes to take. So I hope that you enjoy as well. So we are going to get started in a seated butterfly. So we'll take the soles of the feet together, just letting the knees fall out. So this is a wonderful shape to take to get into the inner thigh and the inner groin. So starting to hinge forward. We're going to let this be really passive to start, rounding through the spine, just letting the hands be soft. And right away, tuning into the sensations that you're feeling through the inner groin and lower back and hips. Tuning into the breath. If the breath feels shallow or choppy, see if you can send the breath a little bit deeper down into the belly. We're going to hang out in these shapes for about a minute or so. I'll slowly come all the way back up. Leaning back onto the hands and just letting the knees rock side to side. And we'll come onto all fours, switching the focus from the inner thigh to the outer thigh. We're going to come into sleeping swan. So taking the right knee in towards the right wrist. And slowly walking forward, torso coming forward and down. It's normal that this area of the body could be feeling particularly tight or tense, being a cyclist. So of course, coming out at any point during this minute, and slowly coming back up onto the hands, just shifting the weight of the hips over towards the right so we can swing the legs in front of us. Extending the legs out in front long. Inhale, the arms reach up. Exhale, folding forward. And it's okay if you don't come very far forward. Just coming forward enough that you feel sensation somewhere along the back side of the body. It's a nice way to get into the hamstrings, the glutes and lower back. You could be feeling this even down into your calves, bottoms of your feet. Slowly starting to roll up, letting the head land last, just pausing at the top. And leaning back onto the hands, the fingertips pointing forward, bending the knees, bringing the soles of the feet in towards the bum. The inhale lifts the pelvis up, coming into a reverse table. So we can open through the chest, through the front of the body. Just 2 more breaths with this one. Next exhale, just letting the hips land. And we'll come into a sleeping swan on the left side. We can get there by first coming into table and then bringing the left knee in towards the left wrist, walking the right leg back. And it's okay if in your body you want to stay a little bit more upright on this side. And then if it feels okay with the left knee coming forward and down, letting this be really passive so we can dig deep into the left glutes and TFL, IT band. And taking your time to come all the way up. We'll press into the hands and tuck the back toe. And lifting up and back into a downward dog. And from this downward dog, we'll lift the heels on the inhale. Exhale, let the heels drop down towards the floor. Inhale, heels lift. Exhale, heels drop. Opening through the Achilles tendon, the calves. Inhale, lift. Exhale, heels drop. And we'll slowly lower the knees down. And we'll come into an opening for the bottoms of the feet. It's going to feel really nice, especially if you cycle with click-in shoes that are really stiff. So we'll tuck our toes underneath. You might want to start leaning forward with your fingertips or hands on the earth. If that feels okay, you might start to bring your head and your shoulders right over your hips. This is going to intensify the stretch through the toes, a thick band of fascia on the bottoms of the feet. Relaxing your face and your jaw. We'll just spend about another 30 seconds here. Letting the shoulders come down, away from your ears. And to release, we'll bring our hands down to the floor if they're not already there. And untucking the toes, you can give those feet a little tap. So we've moved through the outer part of the leg, the inner and the backs. So we'll work through the front, the quads and the hip flexors, which can get pretty tight cycling. So we're going to come into a dragon or lizard pose, coming up onto the knees. And we'll take a big step forward with the right foot. Now, if your left knee feels really sensitive, you could always roll up your mat to create a little extra cushion. Letting the hips come forward and down. Option to stay a little bit more upright with the hands on the thigh. Or if this is just unbearable for you, some folks find it's a little bit more comfortable to bring the hands down towards the floor. It's not going to be as intense of an opening for the left hip flexors, but still very beneficial. So you can choose being more upright or more forward. Closing the eyes, tuning into what sensations that you're feeling. And can you hold those sensations in a non-judgmental way? Just being the observer of what's happening. And we'll release from here by coming forward and down. The hands come onto the earth. You can unroll the yoga mat if you have it rolled. And letting the hips sink back, we'll come into a half splits. Another opportunity to get into the back of the right leg. You could have your toes pointing forward or up. It's going to change the sensation that you get in your leg. You can choose. And then just coming forward enough so that you can swing that right leg behind you. And just let the hips sway side to side. And coming to a neutral table, we'll move through a couple cat-cows, letting the belly drop, tailbone rises, looking up. Exhale, rounding through the spine, opening through the upper back, feeling the shoulder blades opening up. And then just moving through a few of these cat-cows at your own pace. Moving faster or slower than me. And then we'll come back to a neutral table. I'll just take a little bit of an opening for the shoulders. So the inhale, the arm reaches up. And then on the exhale, take that right hand towards the lower back. You could stay here, rolling open through the right shoulder. You might even take your right hand and reach for the left thigh. Releasing, the arm reaches up. Exhale, right hand plants. Inhale, the left arm reaches up. Exhale, taking the left palm to the lower back, or the left hand reaching for the right thigh, creating the opening through the front of the left shoulder, an area of the body that can get quite closed off as we hunch over our bikes. And releasing, the arm reaches up. Exhale, the left hand comes down. And we'll sit back onto the heels and we'll move into the dragon or lizard shape on the other side. Coming up onto the knees, we'll take a big step forward with the left foot, rolling up that mat for the right knee if you want some extra support. Hips come forward and down. Option to stay more upright, or hands coming down to the floor. Slowly releasing from this side, unrolling the mat, letting the hips come back as we open up through the back of the left leg. Shifting the weight forward onto the left foot, swinging the left leg behind us, letting the hips just move side to side. And we'll move through another opening for the chest and the shoulders, coming into melting heart. So we'll keep our hips right over our knees, walking the hands out a little bit further and letting the chest come forward and then down. So we're opening through the sides of the body, through the chest. We're getting a nice back bend through the spine. Slowly releasing from there. And we'll just come to sit down cross-legged. And we'll take our hands behind us, either clasping our hands or holding onto the elbows. One last opening for the chest and the upper body. Looking up. I like to close your eyes. Roll out through the neck. And then releasing the hands, just letting them rest comfortably on the legs. We'll take the right hand towards the left knee. The left hand comes behind us. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, twist towards the right. Inhale back to center. And we'll take this gentle twist to the other side. Inhales, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Wringing out the spine, massaging the internal organs. And coming back to center, we'll close our practice with just about a minute of quiet. Getting comfortable. Hands are soft, resting somewhere on the legs. I'll open the eyes if they're closed. Well, my dear yogis and cyclists, I hope that you enjoyed this short practice to open up through the hips and the upper body. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Namaste.